Good afternoon, everyone. This is Michael Venezia. I'm the head trader here at Tradeview Markets, and this is my webcast for Friday, March 13th. Thank you, everybody, as always, for joining us, but I'm going to get right into it. The last webcast I did, which is now 2 weeks ago, was on lumber liquidators. So what I would like to do, what I'd like everybody to do is please go back and watch the last webcast, because no matter if the stock was volatile or if everything worked, if you will, I gave important information about why I was looking at this particular stock. And by the way, it was no secret. So let's get back to what I did with the trade right after that day, which was the next day, Friday, and what I've done since then. So let's go back and look at the chart. This is the one-year chart of lumber liquidators. As you see, we can go back to the beginning of April of last year, where the stock is $110. As of 2 weeks ago, the stock was $70. So, 2 weeks ago, all the major indices, let's go back to the SPYs, the NASDAQ, and the Russell. 2 weeks ago, every indice across the board was making either all-time highs or multi-year highs. Going back to lumber liquidators, this stock being 30% off the high to begin with was showing, if you will, relative strength to begin with. So let's go back to a 6-month chart. Lumber liquidators, I did the webcast this day right here, this middle red day. The day before, I did the webcast on lumber liquidators because the stock went from $70 a share, as you can see, to $50 on 15 million, as opposed to normally doing a 1 million share, 1 million shares a day. So the stock had a $20 range on 14, 15 times volume, as I said in the past webcast. So let's go forward. The next day, which was Thursday, I did my webcast here. I didn't take a position on the stock because I was waiting for Friday. Now, here was Friday. The piece that I did this was because 60 Minutes was supposed to come out with a negative article, which is Sunday evening in the U.S., about lumber liquidators. But that particular day, lumber liquidators had a range from 47.5 to 52.5. So it had a $5 range. Granted, as you can see, the stock had no volume right there. It had the least amount of volume it had the previous 3 days, and subsequently the bunch of days afterwards. So that Friday, I did not take the stock. The stock was up, had a nice move. You want to call it short covering from a $20 down move that Wednesday. So the stock finished up $3, $4 on a day. Granted, it was on no volume, but that goes against all my principles. Although I was watching the stock for short and to see what happened after the 60-minute piece comes out, you can see actually what happened afterwards. But I could not take the stock short because it went against all my principles. And if that stock would have opened down, normally it being a long right here, I wouldn't have forgiven myself because that wasn't the play. But let's look at what happened Monday. Okay, here we go. The 60-minute piece comes out Monday morning. Lumber liquidators on a Friday closed at 51.55. That Monday morning, the stock opens at 42, down $13. Now, keep in mind, it came from 70 down $20 the previous week. So this Friday, the stock had a range of 42.24 to $38 on, as you can see, the biggest amount of volume it did yet, but not the biggest amount, the biggest range. So the next day, I watched lumber liquidators again. It was a strong day the next day. Stock closing at $38. The shorts got hurt. The stock was at $43 at one point of the day, closed near the low, $40.50. Now, this was the following day that I watched. There was that Tuesday. Lumber liquidators was weak again in negative press. The stock broke that 60 minutes Monday low from $38. You can see it may not look that much, but the stock went from $38 to $35. Still a 3-point move, a good percentage move. Once again, maintaining its volume of 15 million shares. So what this tells me is that the stock is going to continue to stay active, and it's prone to a lot of news. So one of two things could happen here on this day where it broke that low. Either traders can add to their winners, which if you started adding at the close from $35, I'm not saying you wanted to think it was going to go to zero, to $32, or you can piece out of it and take some off. Now, this is what I did with the stock. I traded the meat of I had the meat of the trade when it broke that 60 minutes low. I was aware that that stock, the futures, by the way, the market had come in, pulled back, if you will, at a decent level. The S&P futures could have opened down 20, 30 handles. This stock was mutually exclusive in anything the market was going to do, because at this time, the story took on a life of its own. But since then, the owner or CEO has come down many, many times. As a matter of fact, the stock was halted today, this being Thursday, March 12th, for news. A couple of activists have came out and said that taking positions. Another one said he's not going to take a position. So with that being said, this is a stock that went from $70 to $25. It bounced from 25 to 35. So I'm not saying you have an opinion whether the story is right, wrong, or indifferent. This is a stock with range, price action, and volume, and you could be trading this stock successfully. It doesn't matter if it's LL or IBM, but these are stocks that you have to be in with. So with that being said you have to do your homework with this particular stock, because anything can come at it at any time. But, these are stocks that we're in. These are stocks that I'm going to bring to everybody's attention, whether or not we make or lose in the trade. So going forward, everybody please trade well. Stay tuned for the next webcast. It's going to be somewhat about this webcast, about contra trading, which I consider myself pretty decent at. I don't do that much anymore. But once again, everybody, thank you for tuning in. There's been great volatility in the market with individual names, regardless of if you're bearish or bullish on the market. So with that, everybody have a good night and trade well.